Hello, metropolitan area. You are watching DMV News on channel 420 with Morgan King
and Jayla James.
And we have brought you here today to talk about the decriminalization of drugs, more specifically marijuana.
People cannot get over the fact that marijuana is a drug, but they do not realize that it's probably one of the safest drugs out there.
That is true, Jayla, but it is also a gateway drug, which can lead to people living an unhealthy lifestyle.
Well, on that note, let's see what the people of RHS have to say about it. Now to Jacqueline, live at the very hall of Rockville.
Yeah, live at Rockville High School. Now, let's see how many people put the emphasis on high. Okay. So, I'm Miss Bobna, a sophomore at Rockville High School. How do you feel about the legalization of weed?
I think it's wrong, and it shouldn't be allowed.
Why?
Because it's just wrong.
How do you feel about marijuana being legalized and why?
I think it should be legalized because people have a right over their own body, and like, if it harms themselves, then they have to take responsibility for their own actions, but it's their own action. So like, if they get in trouble for their own actions, it's like themselves, but like I don't understand why it's like illegal for that reason.
Thank you for joining us. This is Oyster, a freshman.
I think it's a pretty good idea because marijuana kind of cool. I mean, I never tried, but like I think people should do whatever they want to do with like their own life decision.
How do you feel about marijuana being legalized and why?
I think that don't should be legalized. Just let people smoke. Let them do them, honestly. Cause I mean, like, they just want to have fun. Just turn up a little bit.
Let them smoke, dog. Smoking.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ever since marijuana has been legalized in the few states on the West Coast, statistics show that in Colorado, one of the few states to legalize marijuana, has had an increase in car accidents. In these said fatal car accidents, it is a standard procedure to test the driver of any drug use. With an increase of car accidents in Colorado, there's also been an increase of drug use in drivers being tested positive for marijuana.
However, marijuana also has its medical benefits, which has helped numerous people with their medical issues as long as they follow the proper guidelines and don't misuse the drug. We'll take a deeper look into the benefits with our guest speaker, Dr. Mary Jane.
On the show, Morgan and Jayla, believe it or not, marijuana actually does have medical benefits. It can treat glaucoma. For those of you who don't know, glaucoma is an increase of the pressure in the eyeball, damaging the optic nerve system, which leads to the loss of vision. It can improve lung health after using tobacco. There has been a survey of people who smoke marijuana regularly, and there were no evidence found that shows any damaging to their lungs. It can help control epileptic seizures and decrease the symptoms of seriously severe syndromes. Dravet's syndrome, such as Dravet syndrome. Marijuana may also help decrease anxiety and slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease, and that's not all. There are multiple medicinal uses for marijuana, and containing it from the people is just not the best thing to do. I think that with regulation from the government, marijuana can be good.
Marijuana has so many different uses. I bet it has 420 different things to treat.
I bet they do, Jayla. But speaking of the government, let's hear the president's point of view, introducing the one and only President Barack Obama.
Thanks for having me on the show, lady.
No problem, Mr. President. So, how do you feel about the debate of the legalization of marijuana?
I did in fact smoke some cannabis as a teenager in high school and college. And as I said before, marijuana is just as dangerous as alcohol. If we repeal the Prohibition Act and change the legal drinking age, why is there not a smoking age as well? I don't mean for cigarettes, because those are no doubt more harmful than marijuana.
Interesting. So obviously you think we should legalize marijuana. Why don't you suggest that to Congress?
Well, the thing is, with the White House and Congress do not necessarily agree with me or my opinion. Though that's not new with Congress. My staff is opposing to the decriminalization of drugs, including marijuana. Congress, however, will allow the use of medical marijuana but has yet to legalize the use of marijuana all over the country for general use.
What do you hope to happen with marijuana after your term is over?
Well, I am hoping that every state in the U.S. will at the very least allow medical cannabis. As of May 5th, only 23 states have allowed it. That's not even half of the U.S. People could be dying due to the lack of cannabis, and the government will be blamed for that.
Thanks, Obama. Legalizing marijuana can also impact the fiscal policy of the state and local governments. By decriminalizing marijuana, the costs that have to do with marijuana-related offenses, handling related criminal cases in the court system, and supervising certain marijuana offenders will be reduced significantly.
If it were legalized, marijuana would be taxed, which would add additional tax revenues annually due to the production and sale of cannabis. That would help the government earn more money and maintain economic stability.
Not only would we help the economy because of the budget savings of enforcing drug laws, it is said that the budget may be reduced by about $7.7 billion to $13.7 billion.
However, even if the budget were reduced, it would be canceled out because you have to keep in mind about the possible consequences. For example, referring back to the increase in car accidents. However, even if the budget were reduced, the money would cancel out because you would have to keep in mind about the possible consequences. For example, referring back to the increase in car accidents, the money produced from that would conflict with the budget decrease. Therefore, the economy would not change as much. As you can see, there are many different ways to go about legalizing marijuana. So tell us what you think. Thank you for joining us here today on the DMV News, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
And we have brought you.
Do it all over. Morgan, how do you feel about the legalization of marijuana and why?
It's an increase. Morgan, come back. This is so weird. Like, it's like I'm talking to myself.
Wow, marijuana has so many uses. I bet they have 400 different I keep saying that. Okay, wait. Wow, marijuana.